All right. I think we're recording. Zoom says we're recording. G'day everyone, and welcome to Action Movie World. We're playing for the as part of the Open Hearth Gaming platform. If you haven't heard of Open Hearth Gaming, then go to openhearthgaming.com and check it out. It's hopefully going to be a lot of fun. Oh, there's Rod. So we have a full house, which is good. My name is Mike. I use he, him pronouns. Before I dive into the game, I just want to go around the virtual table and get everybody to introduce themselves. And maybe an action movie that they've liked. I don't like to ask people what their favorite movie is because it causes some a moment of panic as they try and figure that out. So if you can give your name, pronouns, and an action movie that you liked, and I'll kick it off by handing off to Blake, and then Blake, once you've gone through, you can hand it off to somebody else until we've gone all the way around.
G'day, I'm Blake, he, him. Action movie that I like. Well, lots of them, but the one that springs to mind would probably be 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas. It's kind of a zero to hero story and fish out of water because he's an Arabian guy over in Norse Viking land, and yeah, it's just great. A lot of tropes inverted, and it's a good journey. Over you, Alex.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex, pronouns he, him. Gosh, there are so many, but I don't want to keep us all here all day. I definitely like the ones from the 80s, so like Predator and Aliens and, like big action, with big guns and stuff. So,
And down to Rod is next on my Zoom screen. If you want to
Hi.
introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Rod, he, him. Gosh, yeah, there's so many. I'll just say the one that was most recent, which was the Predator animated film. I don't know if I ever got to see it, but that was a lot of fun. And um, yeah, very creative, I thought. Yeah, and then I guess I'll pass it off to Tiamat.
Sure. Tiamat Shihara, you can just call me T. And it's not good, but I have a soft spot for the tuxedo with Jackie Chan. Sort of a Yeah, very funny. He's got a science suit that gives him the ability to do kung fu, which he couldn't do before. And I don't know, it's fun.
classic.
All right.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everyone. For me, I'm going to pick Tango and Cash as just an absolute classic. It's a buddy cop movie, but I can't remember. I don't believe they're cops. I think that it's just that sort of buddy action film. I'm sure it has lots of things in it that wouldn't hold up to today's scrutiny, but I have very fond memories of that one. It's been a while since I've seen it. I should go back and revisit it. So we're here today to play Action Movie World. The concept overall is that we're going to create actors as part of like the Open Hearth Film Studio, if you will, and we're going to run through a series of action films, building up your actor's profile and career, and they are going to capture audience interest and increase their star power. So you can think of this as being synonymous with like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bruce Willis, those sorts of people that were sort of building up that profile in the 80s. For a lot of modern actors, being typecast is probably seen as a bad thing, but you're absolutely going for that. You want to be the person that is known for having the biggest muscles, or the person who can make those impossible pistol shots. It becomes a signature part of your actor's career, and you're going to do that. In terms of how we're going to do that, in a minute we're going to go through setting up characters or actors by picking playbooks. This is a Powered by the Apocalypse game. So if you've played any other Powered by the Apocalypse game before, you should feel right at home. The Once we've created actors, then we will go into setting up our first film. Each film is set in a different genre. We've got barbarian films and cop films, ninja films, the fighting tournament movie. There's a war film genre and a sci-fi flick genre there as well. So we'll pick one of those. Sorry, I have a large cat that's come in and decided to meow in my face. Give me a minute. Say hi.
random stream cats are always welcome. So
Yep.
Right.
Tradition.
Yeah, it is. And I'm living with him for the next 3 weeks. I'm actually house sitting, but mostly I'm cat sitting, I think. So yeah, we're going to pick a film genre. We're going to put together a film script, and then we are going to play out the movie. So once we're in a movie, the actors will become characters for that film. They'll get a special move that they only get for the duration of that film, and we're going to play out that movie. At the end of that, then we'll pick a new film playbook, a new film script, and we will play out the next film. And I'm kind of hoping that we're able to play out one film per session. But given that this is our first session and we have to do some character creation and safety and some of those tools, the first session might be a little bit different. Also, I haven't personally run or played this game before, so I have no idea whether or not we're going to be able to get through a film per session, but that's kind of the goal. In terms of tone, we're going for over-the-top action, sort of the ridiculous explosions, people surviving things that they probably shouldn't be able to survive in reality. The emotion tends to be expressed through physicality. So we're talking friendship is normally expressed with a big high five on screen. That's usually a big moment in these action films. Killer one-liners. And anger tends to be expressed through violence. But in terms of tone, we don't probably want to get too far into describing violence so much as that it is happening. So just saying I punch a guy rather than going in depth and explaining overly much what that looks like and how that's expressed on screen.
Is there training montages?
There is, I believe, in at least 2 of the playbooks, there is a training montage move.
Sweet.
So yes, we can pull off a training montage. That won't be a problem. As you go through, you will be gaining experience as an actor, which will allow you to pick more moves, but you'll also be gaining star power as the audience gathers interest in your actor and their career. Star power gets used. Each film will have a lead for that film. So one of the characters will be the lead, and this fulfills a couple of functions. One, the lead is functionally immortal. You can't die. That's because you're the lead character. It doesn't mean that you can't be hurt, and if you get too hurt, the audience will stop believing your performance. So that's a thing to be wary of, that you can't just say, well, I'm the lead, so I'm just going to headbutt everybody into oblivion. You sort of have to be a little bit restrained, and the more injured you get, the more you have to kind of push through that injury to make the audience believe that you are capable of performing the things that you're doing. But everyone else is in a supporting role, and supporting roles absolutely can die. In fact, I would say you're mechanically encouraged to die because it's one of the fastest ways to earn experience in the game. So during a film, don't be afraid to throw your character into the action if you're in a supporting role. If you do die, it doesn't mean you're out of the game, and that you can sign off for the night and wander off and go do something else. You then shift into what's called an assistant director role, and that gives you the opportunity to make suggestions within scenes and help out the director in terms of what's going on in the story. And you can give mechanical bonuses to the other characters that are left in the game. So you can kind of say, I'm going to be the pyrotechnics expert and say, I want this scene would be better if something exploded. And you can kind of describe the effects of that explosion is one of the assistant director roles that you can take on.
Very
So
cool.
just know that. This is, as I mentioned earlier, we're playing under the Open Hearth Gaming. And so with all games with Open Hearth Gaming, we're covered by the Open Hearth Gaming Community of Conduct document. I can drop a link to that in the chat, or if somebody else can do it while I'm talking, that would be helpful. Part of that is that we will run with a few different safety tools. We'll run with a layered set of safety tools. I like to say that games are important, but no game is more important than the people playing it. And we want to make sure everybody at the table is having a comfortable time and doesn't encounter content that they find troubling. So in terms of layered set of safety tools, we're going to start with the open door policy. Sometimes things happen. cats will walk into the room and meow at you and you have to deal with it. Sometimes you need to get up and stretch. Sometimes you need to get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, whatever it is. If you need to take a phone call, please, by all means, do that. You don't have to tell us that you're stepping away from the table. But yeah, if you need to be away for an extended period of time, we would appreciate it if you let us know whether or not you're able to come back. But we're playing a game. We're not performing life-saving surgery. So, you know, if real life gets in the way, that's totally fine.
Oh,
by the
Mike.
same token, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. But on that note, I just wanted to say my household's a little bit chaotic right now, so I might be pulled away unexpectedly, just giving everyone a head's notice.
No worries. If for any reason I disappear and don't come back within sort of 10, 15 minutes, you can kind of consider that the rest of the game for the night is finished. I will do my best to reach out and let you know if that happens and sort of what's going on, but I'm not expecting anything, but if that happens, then it happens. On top of and the other part of the open door policy is if for whatever reason we start playing this game and you realize this game is not for you and that you're not having fun, feel free to step away from the game. Again, we would appreciate it if you let us know that you're not coming back, but it's entirely optional. On top of the open door policy, I am planning to try and have a break every hour for sort of 5 to 10 minutes, just to give people that opportunity to stretch. Because I know myself personally, sometimes when I'm deep in playing one of these games, I get so invested in the game that I don't notice that I need to get up and stretch and go to the bathroom. So it's a good opportunity for everybody to chill out for 5-10 minutes. And also it will give me an opportunity as the director of the movie to figure out what the heck is going to happen next. Because, as I said, I'm new to this. On top of the open door policy and the breaks, the next safety tool that we're going to bring in is a thing called lines and veils. I sent everybody a link to the play materials folder. Has everybody got access to that and to the Action Movie World Character Keeper in there? Okay. On the first tab, on the Safety Tools tab, there is a section for lines and veils. A line is something that will not appear in our game, so it's worth taking note of those things and saying that, okay, as the story unfolds, we don't want to touch on these subjects. A veil is something that can happen in the game, it can happen in the story, but we're just going to kind of gloss over it. We're not going to go too deep into things. There's a couple of other columns there for ask first and yes please. I kind of I borrowed this lines and veils tab from another game that I played in. Feel free to fill those in if one of the topics sort of falls into the I'm not sure if this is a line or a veil, so maybe ask first, or if it's a topic that you're particularly interested in. This is also a layered tool, so if something is lined and veiled, then it's lined. So the leftmost column kind of takes effect there. Because we're going to play through a series of different genres of film, it's likely that the content that we're going to hit is going to be different in each film. The types of subject matter that we're going to hit is going to be different. So I'll ask everybody to just take a minute and look through the lines and veils that are already there. If there's something that you know is going to be problematic for you that's not on the list, then please add it at any time during the game. And but I will check in at the beginning of every film to kind of get us to think about the subject matter that might come up in that specific genre of film and potentially update the lines and veils. So I just want to give everybody a moment now to look through the lines and veils that are already there, check in anything, put any checkboxes where you feel that they need to be. And when you're done, if you can just type done into the Zoom chat and we can move on. Okay, that was quick. So we have lines around domestic abuse, homophobia, racism, sex worker exploitation, and sexual assault and violence. And we have veils around consensual sexual activity, harm to children, and that is all we have at the moment. And then we have an ask first for harm to pet animals. I did mention in the game's description that this game has a sex move and that it would be veiled, and I'd forgot to add it to the veil. So thank you for whoever put that in. So that is covered. Also on that tab, there is a romance matrix. I don't know that most action movies have a very skewed view of what romance is and how it works. But it is a thing that could come up during the game. So please consider whether or not you would, whether or not you're interested in romance sort of subplots as part of your character in the game. And as with the lines and veils, I'll get you to check in at the start of every movie on that. So if you, it's got character there, but if you want to put player name in, just because the characters are going to shift and change as we play through, and think about how you want to check those boxes, whether or not you're interested in romance with PCs and with NPCs. Just claim one of the lines.
I kind of wish there was an ask first column with the romance,
Uh,
because it could change, depending on
Mhm.
right, yeah,
on
I've
the
definitely seen that.
scene. Yeah.
Feel free, if you have capacity at the moment, to add one and put
Uh,
in
I'm,
ask first.
I'll put yes, and then I guess if it doesn't feel right, I'll say something.
Okay, I will try and add one during one of the breaks that we
Okay.
have as we go along. The last safety tool that I want to talk about is a thing called the X card. So we've sort of indicated lines and veils at the beginning, but sometimes during the game, something might come up which is making the game less fun for you. This doesn't have to be specific content like consensual sexual activity or harm to wild animals. This might be, we've named an NPC after a beloved pet, and that's not working for you. That's causing some kind of problem for you. So if during the game we do run into any content that is making the game unfun for you, then you just need to indicate that either by typing X into the chat, making an X symbol with your hands if you have your camera on, saying the word X, whatever it is. Take a moment to stop the game, let us know that there's something that we need to change, and we will change it because we want everybody to be having fun. We might ask questions about what exactly is being X'd out of the game, but we won't ask questions about why. That's entirely your own concern. Any questions about the game, about the safety mechanics, anything before we dive in?
Not so far.
Okay,
Not so
good.
far.
Excellent. Okay, moving on. So the first step of what we're going to do is that I am going to get each one of you to pick one of the playbooks to represent your actor. As I said at the beginning, the playbook kind of represents how your character is going to be typecast throughout their career. So you can be the gunfighter, you can be the musclehead, you can be the smartass or the smooth operator, however you want.
No,
There is.
I was. Okay.
No, go.
I was just gonna say I was interested in the pugilist and musclehead, but yeah,
Okay.
if people are dead keen on either, then that's all right.
Yeah, cool. I was planning to go around the table and get everybody to name a couple of playbooks that they're interested in. If you want to see them, there is a tab in the character keeper for actor playbooks. If you prefer to look at the PDF versions, they're in the play folder as well. So the key things to look out for here are there are 5. While you're looking through them, I'll sort of explain. There are 5 attributes or ability scores in the game that represent your actor's ability and their ability to perform. These are agility, drama, muscles, magnetism, and swagger. These are not just your like personal capabilities. So when we say muscles, it's not just that you have a lot of muscles, it's that your actor has the ability to portray being muscular on screen to an invisible audience. So if you have a high muscle score, then the audience believes that you can do things that require a lot of muscles, whether or not you have a lot of muscles. Same for agility. So The examples that spring to mind from the top of my head are like Arnold Schwarzenegger would have a high muscles score. Jackie Chan would probably have a high agility score. Even though Jackie Chan is quite a muscular individual, but from an audience perspective, they might believe his agility more than they would believe in his muscles.
Yeah.
So Blake, you indicated an interest in which two was it? The musclehead and the pugilist?
Musclehead and the pugilist.
Okay, cool. Each one of these playbooks has like a highlighted stat that starts at +2. So for the musclehead, it's muscles. For the pugilist, it's agility. Ordinarily, if you do get into sort of a combat situation, muscles is going to be used for sort of the hand-to-hand, standing a couple of feet away from each other fighting, and agility is going to be used more for the ranged sort of bow and arrow or sniper rifle sort of fighting, however you feel. However, there are moves that let you swap that around. So if you have the right playbooks, you can kind of pick a move that says, nope, I'm a hand-to-hand agility fighter, as it were. So Blake, you indicated a couple that you're interested in. Alex, have you had a look through the list and anything jump out at you?
Probably either the pugilist or the smartass.
Okay. Rod?
I mean, they all look fun. The one that I don't want to play is the Yeller because I'm
Okay.
not much of a Yeller. So, yeah, Tiamat, if you want to say what you want first.
Okay.
I was thinking about also the pugilist or the thespian, possibly.
Okay. Rod, do you have a specific pick, or are you happy with just not the Yeller?
I'm happy for everyone to pick, and I can see what's left. And
Okay.
yeah,
Cool. So Blake, back around to you. The pugilist seems to be a hot commodity.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
that what
I
you
can.
want to
That's
go
fine.
for,
I
or are
can
you gonna
choose a
do
muscle head, and then the pugilist is still open. That's cool.
All right, cool. As you make these picks, there is there's a PCs tab. Go and fill in your player name and the playbook that you want to pick. Just grab one of the colors and go from there.
Yep. I'm going with green.
Once you've picked, you can do a couple more things. So you can go and pick the stat line that you want, the abilities that you want for your character. They're in columns, so you should just be able to select the entire column and then copy it over the column on the character sheet on the PCs section. Most of them, you should just have your sort of key ability at a +2, and the rest is going to be +1s and -1s. There is always, for each one of the playbooks, there's one line which has 2 +2s in it. However, I will warn you that the total adds up to less if you do that. So you're sort of very specialized in one area, and then that gives you weaknesses and deficiencies in other areas. Alex, so we have a musclehead. Do you have a preference for playbook then?
I guess I'll go with the smartass, mostly because the swagger moves for the action movies seem really fun. So,
okay, cool. You can do the same. Just run through and grab your ability lines. The other thing that you can start to do is you can pick moves out of the list that's there. They should be designed so that you can copy and paste them into the sort of move section on the PCs tab. So pick a couple of moves. T?
Well, if nobody's going for the pugilist, I will take it.
I'm going to take the pugilist. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Rod? What do we have
all right.
left?
So we have
the smooth operator and the thespian is still there. And the gunfighter is still there.
not
all right.
sure.
So we have. Mhm.
Sorry, but not sure which tab to pick.
If you go to the actor playbooks tab, that has the list of playbooks in it, and that should have the abilities in columns, so you can pick one of those columns for your ability scores.
I meant
and copy
for
it
the
over.
PCs column tab, or
Oh, right.
which one is which one to pick?
So it looks like the second one and the fourth one is taken. So either the first one or the third one.
I guess I'll do the first one then.
Okay, and T's taken the third one. Good. So I will give you a moment to run through those selections.
So with the playbook moves, do we choose all of them or just choose like one for each before each movie? Or
Choose two now. So that's kind of
Okay.
the special tricks that you're bringing into the movie business for your first film. As
Yep,
you
yep.
advance, you'll have the opportunity to unlock more of them to increase your ability scores. In a minute, we're going to pick the genre of movie that we want, and part of that is going to be picking another move that is specific
Okay.
to that movie genre.
Okay, yep.
And one of the advances you can take is to make one of those moves permanent. So if you're in a ninja movie and you learn how to vanish, then you can bring that into the fighting tournament movie that we play after that. And if you have any questions as you go, then feel free to chat them out.
All right, I think I'll go with this man.
Yeah, he's unseen. No, I isn't 0.
What I might do as well is grab the I've changed the background for your sort of key highlighted stat. I can talk a little bit about what those do as we go into the game. Each playbook comes with one highlighted stat, and then for each film, I'm going to highlight another stat for you at the beginning of the game. When you roll a 10 plus in one of those highlighted stats, you will sort of increase audience interest in what you're doing. So you can think of the ability that I'm highlighting is sort of the director's instructions to you as an actor to say, I want more swagger from you in this movie. So you can think of it that way. But the playbook always comes with one highlighted attribute, and that will not change. The other one will change based on the movie. So I believe for the smartass, it's going to be swagger as your highlighted stat. Whoop, wrong button. For a muscle head, it's going to be muscles, obviously. For the pugilist, it's agility. And for our thespian, I believe it's drama. And if you want to, consider updating your Zoom username with the actor name. Although in a minute we're going to create characters for the movie you're going to be in, and the actor will be sort of subsumed by those characters. We did have a question in the Discord before the game started about how much the sort of actor comes on screen during the game. Not much, to be honest. It is because we're playing out the movies that the actor is in. Usually, your actor gets subsumed by the character that they're playing in the film. Once the movie starts, you're playing as your characters, and you're kind of treating the story of the movie as if it was really happening. It becomes sort of the reality of what we're playing through. And the game doesn't really have any mechanics for things happening behind the camera.
And just to check, y'all can hear me right now, right?
Yes.
This push to talk's not working. Okay. Joyful.
This technology thing, it will never catch on, trust me. It's too hard. All right, how's everybody going?
Still working on my stats. Sorry.
No worries. No, that's fine.
I
Just
think I'm
thinking about
good.
look.
If anyone's finished, now might be a good time to look at the basic moves, which are in the play folder. There's just a AMW basic moves PDF that's worth opening up and getting a feel for how that works. During the game, you're going to be using muscles and agility to do violence and to do stunts. So those are the primary uses of that. You can use magnetism to kind of get what you want from PCs, or to have a love scene, which the book is sure to put in quotes. The drama gets used for expressing emotion and for reading other people. So if you're good at drama, then you're good at sort of understanding what the other characters in the game want and what the NPCs want in the game. And swagger gets used for reading a situation, for figuring out what's going on, and also for delivering that killer one-liner, which you are going to want to deliver at just the right moment to get the bonuses associated with that. There's two other moves on the sheet. One is the Vengeance move, which can only be taken once per film, and only once a PC dies. The other special move is Camaraderie. Camaraderie is a weird move in that it doesn't exactly reflect something that's happening on screen. So normally in a PBTA game, in order to trigger a move, you have to do something in the narrative. And the Camaraderie move is more based on the audience's belief that all of these characters are strongly connected with each other. we'll have a camaraderie score for the movie. It'll start at 0 and it will go up and down based on what you're doing. And the higher it gets, the more likely you're going to be successful with the camaraderie move. Nice. I'm loving these actors already. Alrighty. I think everybody's put some stuff in, and we can have a little bit of time during the game. If you think of anything that you want to add in or change, feel free to bring that up, and we can talk through it. But do we want to introduce our actors to the world before they become characters in a movie? Let's go in character keeper order. So I think, Alex, you are playing the character in the first column. If you want to introduce your character, tell us a little bit about what people see. I guess we don't have a movie poster yet, but on the Hollywood circuit, what do people see when we look up the IMDb? What do we see for this person?
Yeah, so
And
my idea.
it-
Well, my idea about her name is Marcia Boom Boom Machado, and she's like a Brazilian mixed martial artist. So she was really getting a lot of notice on that scene, and like with jujitsu and like Muay Thai and stuff. And she has her line of like gym branding and smoothies and stuff. So it's her tattoos are knuckled. Her knuckles are tattooed with boom boom on each one. So her producer came in and was like, if you want to get even more exposure in the States and stuff, you should really be doing movies, right? Particularly, you've got a good sense of humor and people like that. So she's not taking it too seriously. She's just going with the flow. But that's her whole deal. So.
Awesome. Blake.
Yep. So this is Mason White. He's a tall guy. I think some of his posters he would be scowling as if he's annoyed at something. um, yeah, he probably. I'm just gonna pull something out of my bum. He was probably, in college football, did a knee or whatever, so he couldn't keep going with that. But he had the build and the look, and they thought, we're gonna get you in movies.
Mm-hmm. And just to get back, Marsha Boom Boom Machado is the Smartass playbook, and then Mason White is playing the Musclehead playbook. T, tell us about your character.
Becky Lynn Beecher was formerly professional wrestler in very regional. Performed in a lot of high school gyms. Very short, 5 foot. Well, it's not very short. Around 5 foot, kind of skinny, fair skin, freckles. Her hair is very short. She's usually in some sort of wig. Really good at making it look like she's very good at martial arts. Less good at selling the sort of bravado and sass, I guess, that she was trying to pull off. So she, I think she did some stunt work, and now she's ready for her close up. Is she? We'll find out.
And Rod, our last actor.
Yeah, I'm playing the thespian. I am Oliver Lord, who I think was a Tony Award winner as a child actor. And then he took a hard turn into movies. And maybe there's some kind of like rebellion thing or something happening. I'm not sure yet. Um, but yeah, I'm just going with a classic blonde hair, blue-eyed. He's exactly 6 feet. Uh, exactly. And I think that's what I have for now. Yeah.
Very cool. Is I guess I want to ask: is Oliver Lord happy to be going into action films, or is this a he's a more serious actor and these films are silly?
You know what? It's weird. I think he was getting typecast as a theater actor, and he wanted to break out of that. And of course, I don't know why he'd go into movies to be a typecast movie actor, but apparently that's what he's doing.
Who's the
Show
bad
his
guy in
rage.
Die Hard? What's his name? Is it Rickman? Alan Rickman? Is he
Alan
like
Alan
him?
Rickman,
Rickman.
yeah.
He's
Yes.
he's a well-trained theater actor that sort of got into that
Oh,
sort of.
that's interesting. Yeah. Um, well, younger definitely than um, but yeah, I think I'll find out as we play more about
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
I believe Die Hard might have been Alan Rickman's first acting role, and he went so hard for that role. Like, it's so good. If that's
Yeah.
his first on-screen appearance, it was
Well,
absolutely
Timothy
Wow.
Dalton was the same. He was theatre, and then he got to be James Bond, so it was quite a right turn. But you know,
okay. So that those are the actors that we're going to be playing with for the rest of the series, and we're going to go through a collection of films with them. So the next step is to decide what our first film is going to be and do the setup for that film. Do we want to have a break and then come back and do that? Do we want to jump in and pick a film and then set it up after a break? How are people feeling?
yeah, buy a break would be good for 5.
Okay.
That's right.
Works for me.
Everybody good for 5 minutes? Let me get. It's 8:47 local time, so if we come back at uh, at 5 to the hour, does it sound good to everybody? Alrighty, I will pause the recording and I will see you then. Okay, we're back. I hope everybody had an opportunity to stretch, grab a drink, go to the bathroom, do whatever you need to do. And we are ready to go into our first film, setting up our first film. So our Open Hearth Studios has signed contracts with 4 actors. We're going to put together a film. We found the talent. Now we need to find the story to go with it. So I mentioned earlier that there are sort of 6 different genres of movie out of the box with Action Movie World. If you switch over to the movie scripts tab, you can kind of see them there. There's a little bit of a description of the type of movie that it is. Let's go in Character Keeper order again and have a look through them and let me know if there are any movie scripts that are particularly interesting to you. And if there's one that you look at it and go, I'm not interested in playing through that at all, feel free to bring that up as well. Starting with Alex, have a look and let us know if there's anything that jumps out to you.
I'm fine with whatever, but Barbarian, Cop, or Ninja seem pretty fun.
Okay. Next in the Character Keeper is Blake.
They're all good. I've seen them all, so you know, happy with whatever.
Right. T.
I think the ones I'm most interested in would be Barbarian, sci-fi, and fighting movie. And also, I don't especially want to play as a cop, personally.
That's fair. And Rod.
Uh, yeah, they all look good. Um, Yeah, Barbarian, sci-fi, and ninja all sound fun. But they all sound fun to me. But those are the three, I guess,
They do all
that
sound
jumped
fun.
out at me.
There's an expansion to the game that comes with like another 6 or 7 movie genres. So if we find we're running out, I can try and bring some of those in. It just requires some data entry to do that. In terms of the film we're going to do first, it sounds like I'm hearing Barbarian movie a lot. So I think we should just start at the top of the list and do a Barbarian movie. Note that we don't every movie doesn't have to be a different genre, so we could do a Barbarian movie, do a ninja movie, maybe we come back and do the sequel to the original Barbarian movie that we did. That's a thing that action movies love to do. Is everyone happy with Barbarian movie? It sounded like it was people were happy with that pick. Okay, so the next choice that we need to make is who's going to be the lead in this Barbarian movie. I mentioned before that the lead is functionally immortal, so you will make it through the film. However, if you get too injured, then the audience will stop believing in your performance, and that will be bad for your career. So, being immortal is, while it might be interesting or it might be boring in another game to sort of say, well, I can't be killed. Here, you do still need to be wary of how much damage you're taking. The other thing that happens with these films is that the lead is the only one that can defeat the villain. So at the end of the day, all of the other supporting characters, they're going to be involved in the story. They're going to be helping the lead to achieve their goal, but the lead will take the final hit. They'll take the final shot. With that in mind, is there anybody that is interested in being the lead or specifically interested in being a supporting character in the film? Let's go.
I think
this time.
I'm a sidekick
Yep.
this time, I think. I feel like a supporting character, so.
I feel like a supporting character also.
Okay. Blake, T, do you have a preference for being the lead or not?
No,
I feel
I'm
like
happy
this
with-
would be a great vehicle for Boom Boom.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Hey.
mean, if you guys want me to be the lead, I could, but
Well, if you think of Barbarian, it's probably going to be me or you sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's not going to be the other two, and I'm happy to die, and you get to
Okay.
kill the villain or whatever. so
So it sounds like Boom Boom's going to be our lead for this first film. As
long
the
as
game
Alex is
goes,
cool with that. Yeah.
I just looking at the movie move that I might want to pick. I don't know if it would work as well. So I'm actually happy for you to be the lead if that's okay.
All right, no worries, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So I think I heard that T would be. Sorry, right. I'm getting characters and players and everything mixed up. So Boom Boom being the lead is where we landed with that. So on
No,
the character keeper,
Mason.
Mason is
Yeah,
the lead.
my
Yeah.
character will be the lead for this one.
The muscle
'Cause
head.
yeah.
The musclehead, which makes perfect sense for the Barbarian film. On row 7, there's a role drop down. Mason, if you drop yours down to lead, and everybody else, you
Yep.
can drop yours to supporting role, and we can move on from there. The way after we've done the first film, the way that the lead role will work, it will be based on star power. So whoever's got the highest star power will be the lead for the next film. There's a sort of a rule 0 for that rule, which is everyone gets to have a turn at being the lead before it comes back around. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. Okay, so starting with the lead and then going clockwise around the character keeper, every one of our actors gets to pick one of the moves for this specific movie. So there's 5 moves here. Every move can be taken twice, so 2 different players can take one of these moves. This is a move that you will have only for the duration of this film, unless you happen to hit 5 XP during the film, and then you can maybe carry it across. Some of the moves will say that you can't make it permanent because it doesn't make sense. So take a look through, and
I'll go with Mighty Thews.
Mighty Thews. Okay, next in character keeper order is Becky Lynn Beecher.
I feel like Secret Engineer could be fun.
Nice.
So are we putting this into script move or something, or?
Yeah, copy that into the script move section of the character
Okay.
keeper, just to keep it separate from your other moves.
Yep.
Mighty Thews. All right, so we've got 2 movie moves already in place. Oliver, do you have a preference for move?
I think I'll go with give me throw a massive East Hall. Uh, I'll I'll go with Deadliest Warrior.
Nice.
And I will pick Spend It Like Water.
Fun.
Cool. You're going to have a smart ass party in there somewhere. Okay. The next step, again, we're going to start with the lead, and you're going to pick a set of gear for your character for this film.
Okay,
there is,
muscles.
I think, 5 or 6 different options. You get everything in the column. This is not.
Okay.
This is not an exclusive pick. So if you pick like the first column, somebody else can also take that first column. So unlike the moves, these are not limited. You can just kind of decide what sort of weapons and armor do you want to be carrying into this film.
And just mechanically, I'm guessing that guns would be bows.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go with the third column. Okay.
Couple of hand axes.
Oh, why did that duplicate it? That's bizarre. It did 4 copies of it. That was weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Weird. I duplicated it. That's all right. Okay.
Okay. And Becky Lynn Beecher.
I'll go with the bow and dagger.
Okay. As you're selecting gear, you can start to think of what your character's name might be for this film. Rod.
So, I'm sorry, we're picking
Picking gear.
right.
So on the movie script tab, there is a section for gear, and you'll get everything in a single column. So you can pick.
Oh, okay.
So we have you are the deadliest warrior. In what way are you deadly?
I don't know. I mean, I was kind of hoping to be a magic user, but are we all fighter types? Or does that really is it really open?
There's not really any moves in the game for doing magic.
Right, right. I mean, it would just
It would kind of be
It
a
would just-
stunt, right? You know, you could
It could-
potentially.
Right. Yeah, we could flavor it as a stunt or the violence move, depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So,
Oh, I like I see a small furry creature, so I'm taking that column. The sword,
Nice.
small furry creature, and 1 point of armor.
Yeah, you got high
Right.
drama, so you could have like a heart-to-heart with it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And feel free with some of these things. Once you've sort of copied it onto the PC tab, feel free to reflavor any of these things. So you have a sword, which is a certain amount of harm, and hand. If you want to switch that over to being a staff or a wand or something, everything that you wield is going to have the deadly quality anyway. So the fact that the sword is deadly is irrelevant. Anything that you do is going to be deadly. It could be, you could carry a rock and it's going to be deadly. And then Boom Boom, I believe, is the last one.
I picked the first
That you
column
picked.
with the sword, dagger, throwing axe, and armor. I'm getting like a pirate queen vibe for her in this movie, or like, just throwing a lot of money around, like very rich.
I like that.
I want to ask, because you mentioned having your knuckles tattooed with Boom on each hand. Is that something that the studio just goes, that's fine? Or is that
I think they've tried
they try
to
and cover it up?
Yeah, they've tried to cover it up with gloves, but in some of the shots, like you can still see some of the letters poking out, and people on IMDb point out like that's a mistake or whatever.
Maybe
But sometimes
it's
it gets
generating some
CGI'd
intrigue.
out, but yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine our first movie is going to be very high budget.
I was thinking Savage Stone, like lean right into the Barbarian thing. That's his character's name.
Nice. Okay, the next step is that I need to pick highlighted stats. So everybody starts with one highlighted stat based on their playbook, and then I'm going to pick another one. What do I want to do here? For our lead, I'm really tempted to pick drama or magnetism for these. I'll be nice and go with magnetism, because you're the lead. We want you to have some kind of interaction with the other characters on the screen. For our pugilist, what don't we have? I'm tempted to say to beat muscles, just to see you jumping into some of the action. For our dramatist, you don't have another +1. I'll be nice and give it to you in magnetism. That's your other awesome stat. And we want to see your acting chops in this movie. And then for Boom Boom, I think as a mixed martial artist, I think we want to see agility or drama. We don't have a lot of other agilities, so I'm going to give you some agility for this film.
Cool.
Hopefully everybody's happy with those picks. The game says that I do it, but if you're unhappy with any of the picks, then feel free to speak up. Next thing, I need to pick a villain for the film, and then you all have the power of veto. So I can propose a villain, and then you can say, "Nah, that villain sounds boring. Let's do something else." So from the director's script, I'm tempted, because there was interest in magic, to bring in a wizard or a priest. I think I want to lean wizard.
Are we talking
Evil
like
wizard.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go like Lady Hawk, where the archpriest is like the big enemy at the end sort of thing, and they're using the church to hunt down the heroes or something.
It
It's
could be.
kind of similar in Conan too, yeah, but he's also sort of a wizard too, so. Yeah, I kind of like wizard because that, for Oliver's character also being a sorcerer, that could be a little fun.
Spell magics.
I'm gonna write down fell magics, and I will bring in some fell magics at some point. Okay, is everybody happy with Evil Wizard?
Yeah, sounds good.
Absolutely.
Okay. Does anybody want to give a name to this Evil Wizard?
And that's the lore.
I love it.
Fantastellar?
I'll put it. It's and that's the lore.
Oh, nice. Pandastellar. He's wanting to make a name for himself in the world, and he's going to be foiled by a plucky band of heroes.
There's probably some ridiculously long text scrawl at the beginning of the movie about what a terrible person Pendastelar is, and like, he's almost got the third scepter of whatever, and nobody cares. It's not important.
They talk about a lot of like very cool looking things that he did off screen that we could not afford to animate.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Raised an army of the dead. Everyone sort of defaulted to he, him pronouns for Pendastellar. Are we happy with that? Or would we like to change Pendastellar's pronouns to something else? Okay. I think that's fine. I don't mind having a he, him villain. That's a...
I was just wondering the age of the characters, because are we going to do the Japanese thing of the villain is one of the characters' fathers?
It could be. The next decision that you have to make is to determine a relationship with the character that your character has with the character to your left. And I believe, does this also start with the lead? It doesn't say, but I'm going to do it that way because I think that's probably to keep things consistent. So, Savage Stone, what is your relationship with Kielra, the Whirlwind?
Maybe
There
they
is. Sorry, I was just going to say, if you look in
is there a list or something?
Play folder, there is a list, but it is a suggestions list, and the game basically says make up your own. But the last thing you should do is roll on this table. That's your final result. So it
So
sounded
in the
like you were
play
coming in with
folder,
an idea.
yeah, I just thought maybe I got captured or something, and they freed me. So she saved my life, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Some haughty King's Guards were hassling me, and I fought them, and I got taken prisoner, and she rescued me just to piss the king off, basically.
Yeah, maybe I was trying to rob the palace or something, and it's one of those things where we ran in together and we fought them off together or something.
Yeah, it might have been.
It's like I have
you
a
snuck
ship.
in. You snuck in near the dungeon and freed me, and I said, "Look, I'll help you. Let's rip them off and get out of here."
Yeah.
Why
Classic.
were you in the dungeon in the first place?
Me? Oh, I take the King's Guards because they were being twats. They were oppressing the peasants.
Okay. So you're a known provocateur in the King's Guards. Okay. There is in the character keeper. There's a section for special relationships, so you can write that in there.
Okay.
And then onto is it Bechu the Sly or Beku the Sly? T is muted.
I'm just gonna manually unmute. Bechu, like Achu. And I'm seeing her as a little bit more comedic relief. I think I rolled it that Savage Stone and I were former slaves. And I think maybe like we were captured as kids and kind of grew up together. And I bet she was a little bit of like the, hanger on, coming up with wacky plans that may or may not work. And of course, there to punch people.
Awesome. So were you part of this grand prison escape, or had you been separated by that point, do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm the reason why we were in prison. Like I messed something up. And if it had just been Savage Stone, probably would have been fine.
Maybe they went back to save you in the moment when you were being captured, and that's how you got captured as well. Okay. Norrin Whitestaff. What is your special relationship with Betchu the Sly?
Bet you the Sly. Um, uh, I don't know. Bet you the Sly saved my life. Because I went into a bar and into a tavern and thought had no idea how to act since it was not my usual type of environment, and
Okay.
bet you diffused the situation that would have gotten me hurt.
Nice. Very cool. So there was someone in the bar that was going to do violence upon you in some way, shape, or form. Maybe they were intending to rob you. Maybe they just wanted to take you outside and beat you up.
Mhm.
And bet you managed to diffuse that situation. And then last one, Kiora the Whirlwind. Keola? Sorry, I'm putting the R in the wrong place. Or I think you've got it in two different places in the character keeper and in Zoom.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
My joke with that was Boom Boom couldn't pronounce how it originally was, so they kept changing it in the script until they got, something that was easier. So
Nice.
so my relationship with Norin,
Yes.
I like thieves of something mysterious and powerful that belong to Pindastolar. Like, maybe some magic tome or some kind of MacGuffin that he needs to plunge the world into darkness or something. I don't know.
I'm always a fan of an idol or an orb.
Yeah.
Spellbook is
Oh,
good.
orbs are good. Yeah. Because then we can throw
Orbs
it
are
at
fun.
someone at the end.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
Is this a recent theft, or is this something that you did years ago and you've stashed it somewhere? Do you have it on you?
I think it's fairly recently in the last month or so, and he's been chasing us ever since, maybe.
Okay.
We definitely have it on us.
I'm sure that won't be a problem for anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a magic orb. Somebody mentioned a interest in being related to Pendastelar in some way, shape, or form. We can have Pendastelar be an older person, a younger person, an older person that appears like a younger person because of fell magics. So we can define that however we want. If you do want a relationship with Pendastelar, feel free to mention that.
Well, Mason, you're the lead, so what do you think is your relationship with this evil wizard?
I think he enslaved a bunch of barbarian tribes. He's full on. I'm going to conquer the world. I'm going to enslave everybody. Total asshole. So, yeah, it's personal to me because he took half my family away and their cousins and so on.
Classic.
Do we envisage Pendastelar as sort of currently being in control of like a central dominance, and you're in the
Well, yeah,
outskirts of that?
I thought it would be growing. That's why we need to stop him because it's getting worse.
Mm.
Yeah, he's raising an army of magic and undead and stuff, and
Maybe the orb kind of mind whammied people when that's how his power was spreading, and these guys ripped it off, and that's why he wants it back. So we've temporarily stopped his quick rise to power.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. And then the final step that we have to take, and the game wants us to do this up front, is to name the movie. So, does anybody have any ideas for what we would call this film?
I mean, just off the dome, Orb of Sorcery.
Hmm. I like it. Anybody have another idea to throw out? Or are we going with Orb of Sorcery?
I
feel
always
like
like
there's-
a column, where or sorcery something, the Road of Destiny or something. It's like a really unnecessarily long title.
Since the main
Maybe
character,
I was just gonna say, maybe Orb of Sorcery 4 against Destiny.
Ooh.
And Pendasta, I can keep saying, it's your destiny to be conquered by me, blah blah blah. And yeah.
I like this. So I think if I
The sequel can be Destiny's Children.
Orb of Sorcery 2, Destiny's Children. The Revenge of Pendastila. Okay. So I think we've got everything that we need to kick off our first film. The last step that I do want to take is to give people an opportunity to review the lines and veils. Now that we sort of have a genre in mind of what it is that we're going to do, and we have some ideas of the different pieces of it. So think about barbarian films, think about foul sorcery, think about armies of undead, and think about if there's anything from that sort of matrix of possibilities that would cause you to sort of update your lines and veils. I would ask that people don't remove checkboxes that have already been checked, because you don't know if somebody else has kind of checked that box or would have checked that box if you hadn't put it in there. But if there's something that you do want to remove, or you do want to change like one of the columns, to bring it up, and we can talk about whether or not everybody's okay with that. This is also a good opportunity to think about the sort of yes please column of thinking in terms of barbarian movie. Is there anything that you really want to see because you think it would be really cool, and to put that in. And yeah, give everybody a couple of minutes to do that, and then get you to indicate in the chat when you're done.
I think we're
I
in
mean,
the same headspace.
we kind of mentioned that the
100%.
bad guy, the bad guy, is sort of trying to enslave people, but we don't have to like focus on that. We can just hear a whip cracking and a bunch of people being led away while other people are bullying them or whatever. But we don't. The camera doesn't have to dwell on that too much, because it's obvious who the bad guy is, and it's doing the wrong thing.
Right.
So it sounds like
Uh,
maybe a veil on slavery?
Oh, yeah. I guess it's in the movie, but it's not like focused on too much. It's one of the many things that makes this guy an asshole.
Yeah, that's fine with me for sure.
I think I'm okay with making it a veil. It's a thing that happens, but not really on camera. One other thing that springs to mind based on the discussion of Pendastila and this terrible orb is consider the mind control and loss of autonomy entries in the safety tools, and what people are comfortable with in terms of that, because it feels like, I think somebody mentioned he's using the orb to kind of convert people or to try and transform people in some way, shape, or form. So it's worth bringing that up and calling it out explicitly.
I think with the lines and veils we currently have in place, that's good by me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And we had some extra things added to the yes please column. We had mammoths, giant snake, and dragon, which is fun. Dragon is one of the villain options that I had, but I went with wizard. But who knows? Maybe our wizard will transform into a dragon or have a pet dragon or something somewhere along the way. Okay, so everybody done with looking through the lines and veils? Everything updated? Everybody happy? Just to check in. What does the movie poster look like for Orb of Sorcery 4 Against Destiny? Is it the four of you? What is it?
Yeah, maybe they're in like fighting pose, and there's Pendassler above them with these sort of army of skeletons and demons and stuff marching towards the four of them.
Yeah, I'm picturing cheesy Frank French Zeta background.
Yeah. I feel like the orb's rendered as an eclipsed sun.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
awesome. That's cool. Yeah, he's kind of like reaching up and he's holding the eclipsed sun.
Yeah, with the minions beneath him, and we're sort of the bottom half of the poster in fighting pose.
Okay. And what do people see on the poster when they see your character on screen? What is one detail that kind of sticks out to them?
Kira is just like sitting on a throne of money with a glass of wine, probably wearing some kind of crown tilted or something, but it's like low budget, so it's more like a circlet, the Burger King crown-esque. Yeah.
I was going to say Burger King crown. Glad you did. So we have.
I think
Keel of the Whirlwind on a
Mason's
throne of money.
I think Mason's sort of holding up an axe with one hand and the other arm's down, but both arms are flexing.
Nice. We definitely get that idea. And
I think,
Betchu the Sly.
yeah, Betchu's wearing I think it's like a bright red wig that's like been braided. And I think in every shot, like the braids are slightly different, and like the angle of the wig is slightly different. And she's got a dagger in one hand that she's sort of like menacing one of the minions with, and then she's got a bag of like sewn mammoth skin on like one hip, and there's just like some contraptions spilling out of it.
Nice. And then Naren.
Oh, I think there's like some kind of like goblin-like creatures, and he has his, his venomous white staff over them, and they're cowering, and just some kind of lightning playing on the staff as he stands over them, like this really ridiculously stern face as he's using his magics.
And then I see you picked for your small fairy creature, Cheeks the Squirrel. Is Cheeks the Squirrel featured on the poster, or is this a surprise for people seeing the film for the first time?
Yes, Cheeks rides on my shoulder. It's my familiar.
Okay. Is Cheeks holding his hands the same way that you're holding your hands, sort of thing, as if he's imitating you?
That'd be hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mentioned one of the things that you can do with an advancement is to make one of your script moves permanent. And unfortunately, I don't think you can do that with Geo, but I would love to see Cheeks the Squirrel come back in a future movie. Maybe a different actor playing Cheeks, but yeah. Okay, so the audience is sitting in a theater. They've seen the poster. There's been trailers going around. Everyone's excited for this new Barbarian movie from this brand new studio. For previously unknown actors, or for people that have been paying attention, maybe they've managed to hear some things about these actors coming through. It's typical for these Barbarian movies to start with some kind of like drum beat of some description. Ridiculously overly dramatic music, dark screens, maybe some smoke with some reddish tinge to just give you the sort of feel. What I want the first shot of the film to be is maybe the orb sitting somewhere. So where is this orb?
So it sounded like Kierlan, I stole it. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's my understanding, yeah.
Oh, so maybe it's like on like oh like a protective circle, kind of like that I put around it and I'm studying it. But
Have you
like my face, yeah.
have you guys ever been to Spencer's Gifts? And those little lightning balls that I'll maybe
Yeah,
put a link to it, but it's
plasma
one of
ball.
those things. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it's inside of a protective circle. Is that in a building? Is it in a cave? Is it in a forest grove somewhere?
Yeah,
Oh, I think go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I imagine that we're sort of like on the run, and this is like a campsite, maybe in like a sort of a Badlands kind of vibe, and we have set up on the most cinematic place, which is the top of a butte with wonderful visibility.
Nice. So, because you are at a campsite and it's nighttime, or maybe twilight or dusk, as sort of the light on the horizon, we see this fantastic landscape. You're all up on this butte, and we can see this sort of savanna laid out in front of you. We see a group of people gathered around a campfire, and somewhere off to one side there is a protective circle containing this orb. And maybe we don't focus on the characters just yet. The camera pans in on this orb, and you just see the briefest flicker of a flash of light somewhere deep within the orb. But then something in the protective circle moves or lights up. What is this protective circle made of? Is it runes on the ground? Is it made of sticks? Is it?
Yeah, since we're on the run, I think it's just like carved into the stone with sand. Um, runes drawn into the sand. Uh, yeah, maybe like larger stones
See,
around the circle.
yeah. What is uh actually I'm gonna direct this at our lead. What is Savage Stone doing at the moment when the light flashes?
I mean, he's probably not even looking at the orb. He's not a magic person. If the sun's setting or whatever, he'll be doing some some weapon kata with the sun behind him, so it's just a silhouette, and it's lots of flexing and moving the weapon around. And well, how long are we staying here? You know, he's bored. He hasn't fought anyone in half an hour. He wants to do something.
Right. And you will get the opportunity as just as that the audience sees the orb flash, we sort of pan back and we see Savage Stone swinging his axes and moving in this kata. When we see on the horizon something is flying towards you at a high speed, you just kind of capture glimpse of it as it goes over the moon. It's not clear what it is, but it's either very close or it's very big. What do you all do?
Who do we think would notice this first?
Sounds like not Savage Stone.
Not me. I'm studying the orb.
Okay.
I think we hear, Kira has like this very big ostentatious tent set up on the edge of the encampment, and there's the sounds of like laughter and merrymaking inside. So she's got her whole retinue in there, not paying any attention to this yet.
I think
So that
Beachy's
leaves us
probably
with Rachel.
hanging out with Savage Stone, working on some sort of contraption, like a bolero caltrops combination, and looks up and like will sort of tense and like reach over and shake Savage and point.
Is that some sort of dragon or something? What is it? It looks big. Hey, Naren, come and look at this. Points.
What is that? What do we see again? What is it that we're seeing?
Right. So you see a winged shape would have crossed in front of the moon when Bechu managed to catch it in his attention, and now it's a black dot on the horizon. Well, it's larger than a dot, but it is a black shape on the horizon. It is moving closer and closer to you. You can start to see that it's there's a vague pattern where it's blotting out the stars, and as it's flapping wings as it moves towards you, but it is unclear precisely what the shape is.
By the seven gods, we must prepare for battle. I start like I take like the sand and I'm pouring it over the orb. Uh, I don't know. And I take a bag and I'm like
Well,
kind of like putting it away so that we can run if we need to.
I'll think I'll yell out, killer! And I'll bang my axes together.
Can I roll to see how well my party's been going inside the tent first?
Yeah, you
Okay.
can. So you have the spend it like water move.
Yep.
So read through the move and then roll it.
So money
we do-
is generally meaningless in AMW, but not in Barbarian movies. No matter how noble the outcome of the movie, money is almost always the prime motivator for some, if not all, of the characters. That money is meant to be spent quickly and ostentatiously. You may throw a massive party at an inn, encampment, feast hall, or other suitable place, blowing all your cash. When you throw your party, roll plus swagger. So let's see what I get. Oh no, on a miss. Got to start out well. You've overindulged and otherwise misstepped socially, take -1 forward, and you've attracted unwanted attention. So I think like as Shattered
Is your
Stone.
swagger's 2 though, right? So that would be an 8.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't add that. Never mind.
Yes.
Okay. So I get to hold 1. Which I will just hold on to for now. Probably just gain +1 to a move. So she hears you clanging the shield and she's just like staggering out, like half armored up in her cosmetic chainmail or whatever and getting her scimitar ready. It's like, what? I was coming. What's so damn important? You interrupted my revelry.
There's some sort
of
of dragon. Yes, what Stone was saying. The same thing.
That's always comes at the worst time. You know, we were right about to get to the festive dancing. All right, well, what do we do?
The only thing better than a festive dance is a victory dance.
Yeah, it's banging these axes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask Bet You the Sly, is that a killer one-liner move?
We can roll for it.
Okay. So the killer one-liner move, when you deliver an awesome one-liner or a catchphrase, roll plus swagger.
Mine was at -1.
Okay. Oh,
So that's a 6.
okay. Let me find the move. On a miss, the line falls flat. Take -1 forward as you're rattled by how lame your line was. The director may make a move against you. So I think this is the moment when the thing that has been flying towards you arrives, and it arrives by smacking directly into Betchu as he says victory dance. And it is something large and leathery. It makes a screeching sound as it kind of hits the party and is going to kind of hit you with its claws, but then throw you. So as you get thrown through the air, is there anything you would like to do in that moment?
Well, I am not actually going to scream in the mic, but insert Wilhelm scream here. And then I think Betchu is going to attempt to do a cool dive roll out of it, and at the same time draw her bow and arrow.
Nice. That sounds like a stunt to me.
It sure does.
So let's have a stunt move. Muscles or agility?
And I'm going to use agility, so that's 14.
Okay. Does that include the -1 forward that you had? Not that it will make a difference, but I want to consume
It
that.
did not. 13.
13. So 13 is still an absolutely amazing stunt that gets pulled off by Betchu in this moment. So on a 10 plus, you do the cool stunt you were attempting and you feel like a total badass doing it. So take +1 forward. You can pass the +1 forward to another PC if you can work them into the stunt in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think this is a thing that Stone and Betchu have done in the past, where Betchu will sort of distract them with arrow fire, while Stone gets in some cool axe moves. So I'm gonna give that +1 to Savage Stone.
Okay, cool. I think you should also take 1 harm, at least from the rake of the claws going past. Does that seem fair?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So mark that. And the other thing is you have just performed a move with a highlighted stat where you rolled a 10 plus. It's because this is the first time that's happened. I just want to bring in what happens there. So the audience is getting more invested in your character because of that awesome stunt that they think Betchu is cool in this moment. There isn't actually, I just noticed on the character keeper, there isn't a spot to record this, but you will get 1 tick of it's not of star power because your star power goes up and down in between movies, so it's working towards increasing your star power. So maybe just grab grab the box above star power and put something in there. The book calls it ticks. I like the idea that it's audience interest. So mark 1 of those there. And then we'll go on. So in that moment, Betchu flies through the air, pulls out their bow, and manages to pull off this cool stunt. But they are paired up with Savage Stone, and frequently this is a technique that they use as the arrow flies towards this leathery winged beast, distracting it for a moment, giving Savage Stone the opportunity to maybe do something about it, as it has come low enough to the ground to be able to run into your friend Betchu the Sly. What would you like to do?
Me?
Yes.
I think he's gonna like twirl his axes, like 1 in each ear, and just go towards it, hack. Yeah, it's not graceful. It's just quite brutal. But I mean,
Right,
that's
but
what he's there for.
This feels like violence in this moment.
Yeah. Because I'm not gonna do a stunt right after she did a stunt. I think I'll do my stunt a bit later.
Okay.
All right. And I can muscles or agility, so muscles. All right. So roll 2. Wait, was that mine? Why is it come up as 14? That's weird. I think I got a 4, and with a +2 it's still 6.
6.
So maybe I'm trying to come in with the
from me.
axes.
There's
Oh yeah, so
+1
7.
forward from Betchu the Sly brings you to a 7 to 9. So on a 7 to 9, you inflict harm but take some as well, or you inflict harm but are driven back, or you inflict harm but a friend is hurt badly.
Maybe driven back. Like I'm trying to axe it, and it's frenzy and clawing in that abbey, and I'm near the edge of the cliff.
Okay.
So I'm in a shit sort of tactical position.
Right. Yeah. But you do manage to inflict some harm on it as well. So it's definitely, it's got a thick leathery hide. So the axes are digging in, but they're not necessarily doing as much damage as they would against a human foe. in that moment. It's still going. It appears to be injured, but it turns on you as you get backed up against the cliff. Galen, most of this has happened in sort of the blink of an eye as you've come out of the tent. But now that you've had an opportunity to take in the scene, what are you doing?
I think like as the thing swooped by the tent, it kind of like got blown over, and we hear some grumbling inside, and like Kirla's wine tips over, and she's very annoyed, and she's like shaking her scimitar at it, and it's like, "You spilled my drink, I'll spill your blood." So it's kind of a comedy moment in the background. I'd like to try for a killer one-liner.
Go for it.
So that's 5 + 3, so an 8. I think I get camaraderie. My buddies are impressed, but it slows the action scene down, and not in a good way. Like the audience at home is like, why are they focusing on this and not the awesome fight that's going on?
Right. So I think it slows the scene down, and the creature is kind of like turns its head to regard you with its baleful eye, but it doesn't advance towards you at this moment. I don't think that's enough to bring it off from. I'm clicking through all of the tabs from Savage Stone as I get used to all the character names. So that is an attempt at a killer one-liner. It kind of landed. The audience is okay with it, but it's not it's not the killer one-liner one would hope for in that people are going to be quoting in the schoolyard next week.
So where do we track camaraderie?
I have a separate script,
Oh.
but I'm actually wondering if the best place to do it isn't in the actor script. So this is a playbook that I borrowed, and then I've adjusted it slightly. So there's a separate actor script tab where we're tracking camaraderie. It's a good time to talk about camaraderie because we just gained some. Camaraderie starts at 0 and it goes up and down throughout the movie. It peaks at +3, and the worst that it can do is -3. Camaraderie is the audience's understanding of your cohesion as a group of characters on screen. So when if you end the movie at +3 camaraderie, so if you manage to get the audience to kind of fully buy in to what you're doing, then everyone will gain XP. So it's worth it to try and do that. The other thing you can use camaraderie for in the basic moves, there is a camaraderie move. So you can purchase against the audience's belief in what you're doing to attempt to do something based on the amount of camaraderie that you have. It's worth noting that anytime you attempt a camaraderie move, you're going to make the move, and then camaraderie will go down by 1 automatically. So every time you do it, the audience's kind of understanding of your cohesion as a group will drop, and then you have to build it back up if you want to get back up to that +3. But that's a thing to keep in mind.
So
it's worth knowing the camaraderie move because it lets you find awesome weapons. It lets you heal harm. It lets you do extra harm to the film's villain. It lets you bank a 10+, an automatic one on a roll. So be aware that move is there, and let me know if and when you want to take it.
I'm only seeing one way to increase camaraderie, and that's with the one-liner.
There are other ways of doing it. Hang on, and I will tell you what they are. This is a thing that I can probably bring into the character keeper, I think. Ways. Let me just check. Because we may have already hit one of these. That's a good point. Okay, so camaraderie will go up if one PC saves another from certain death. If you set back the big bad guy's plans as a group, delivering an awesome killer one-liner, there's an optional thing there. The musclehead, the smartass, and the pugilist all have moves that allow them to do it. and there's a move in one of the other films that let you do it. So primarily for this film, it's going to be the killer one-liner move, setting back the big bad guy's plans, but it needs to be a group effort. It can't be one person setting back their plans. It's going to be everyone working on it. Or saving a PC from certain death will increase your camaraderie. Anytime a hero dies, or you attempt a camaraderie move, or any of the PCs double cross each other, camaraderie will go down. I think those are pretty much the only ways it will go down. There is a choice in the camaraderie move that lets you reduce things even further, and I think if you miss on a camaraderie move, it goes down even more than it would just from attempting the move. So we had the killer one-liner that landed, but it wasn't the moment that maybe one would hope it to be. The thing turns its head and looks at you. Norin, you were trying to get the orb packed away so that it could be moved. I think you've had enough time to do that because you started doing it before this dragon thing, this wyvern thing arrived. What are you doing in this moment as you stand up, turn around, you have the orb packed away?
Yeah, I slip the orb into like an inner pocket of my white robe, and I see the things there, and I just say, uh, d death on wings, doom rising, and this face of utter dread, and we cut to Cheeks the squirrel who has the same look on his face, um, and I lift up the white staff, and what I'm gonna do actually is try to read the situation.
Okay.
And let's see, that is Swagger, which is good. Um, oh, my Swagger's pretty terrible, actually. Oh no, but do I have a? Oh no, I can't. Oh yeah, let's go for it. uh, that
What could go wrong?
is, what could go wrong? It's 2d6. All right, 7.
Okay. So you can. That's a success, which means you can ask one of the questions from the list. So if you succeed, ask a question, and then if you act on the director's answer, take one forward. What would you like to know in this moment?
Oh, what should I be on the lookout for?
You should definitely be on the lookout for more of these things showing up. You know that this is a tool that Pendastelar reserves for the most dangerous enemies that he has, but he doesn't deploy just one at a time. You're looking at a pack of these things.
Oh, I yelled out to everyone. There will be more coming.
Okay, upon hearing that, let's jump back to Savage Stone. You have your back to a cliff and a leathery beast between you and the rest. If the party is going to make a run for it, you're not in the best position, and jumping into combat in this moment might be a dangerous proposition. But what does Savage Stone do?
I think he's going to try and leap to the side of it, like with his axes, to try and roll over it. So he'll be on the other side. I guess that's a stunt, because it's not really about hurting it. It's more about changing the position of which one's closer to the cliff.
Right. Yeah.
So what's that stunt? Well, that sounds like agility to me.
I think that's
Although he can flex it, he can flex his muscles while he's doing it. All right, so in this case it'll be -1. Yep, that's better. So 10, 9. It'll be 9 in that case.
9 on a stunt move is pretty good. We are looking at, where is stunts? On a 7 to 9, stunt is successful, so take +1 forward. However, you've left yourself in a precarious position. So you managed to get over it and past it. So now it is closer to the cliff than you are, but you are now closer to the head end of this thing as it turned around to look at Kiala.
All right.
It is likely to take a bite at you in a moment. What do you do?
Oh, still me? Or
Yeah,
one of
I'm
the.
going to stick with you for a
Oh, okay.
moment.
I think I'll yell at, pack up to leave. We can't stay here.
Nice. Keeler, I think you have the most to pack up. What if this stuff is important? What are you going to do in this moment? Are you going to start packing up the tent, or are you going to help with this beast?
I mean, yeah, she's looking over at like all the wine and treasure and like stuff that she's leaving behind, and probably some of the people who were partying in the tent are carting off some of it. So she's looking back and forth between them two. Saying, oh man, and she's gonna charge forward and help her friend. So.
Okay, charging forward. What does that look like? Are you trying to get your friend out of danger, or are you trying to inflict?
Yeah,
some
actually,
danger?
since we're trying to get away, I think it's more like she'll just pick up like the goblet and other things that were on the ground and start throwing it in its general direction. It's like, hey, ugly, pick on someone your own size, and just trying to get it distracted in a way. So I'll use sticks and stones, literally.
Nice. So you've mastered the art of taunting your enemies until they lose reason. When you taunt a bad guy, roll plus swagger.
I got a 9.
9. On a 7 to 9, you get what you want, but it comes with an added cost. Oh, wait, I'm reading the wrong move. On a 7 to 9.
As above, but you're engaged in outright combat with the Taunty. Let's say, oh, man, it charges at does something stupid.
Does something stupid. I think you flick the goblet of wine and it sort of lands in its face, and you're shouting at it as you go, and just the sting of the wine in its eye is enough to cause it to take a step back, and it goes off the side of the cliff, as Savage Stone had managed to get it on the cliff's edge, and in that moment you hear it drop, and then it spreads its wings and it swoops down into the valley. It's going to take it a minute before it can sort of turn around and come back. And I think that's a good time for our next break.
Okay.
Happy to take
Sounds
10
good.
minutes. All right, we'll see you at 10 past. And we're back. Okay, so in the final moments before the break, the wyvern-like creature went over the side of the cliff, spread its wings, and started to fly away. We did have a request in chat to make sure that we check in with Betchu when we come back, and Betchu had their bow and arrow out. They had been tossed, but and they're looking a little bit bruised. But I think this moment when the wyvern goes off the cliff is long enough for you to have gotten to your feet. What do you want to do in that moment? Are you going to take a shot at this creature? Are you gonna lower the bow, or something else? Tell me what you would like to do.
Yeah. I think Betchu is going to take a moment to scrabble in the moonlight and firelight for one of their special arrows, and is going to attempt to secret engineer.
Let's do it.
All right, and that's plus drama, so that's a 1.
So, secretly brilliant barbarian, using technology in MacGyver-esque ways, the infrequent but lasting trope of the genre. Technology is used here to mean appropriately low-tech but still shockingly advanced items. A hang glider is a good example. You are one of these technically inclined folks, and when you attempt to make a device which you have no business making, roll plus drama. So we can say this is something that you had already prepared.
Yes, and that was 9 plus a 1 in drama is 10. And Betchu the Sly has
Device works perfectly.
created a like a net arrow that is able to explode on contact and wrap this creature. I don't think it sounds like it's pretty big. I don't think it can like wrap all the way around, but like maybe crushes one of its wings so it's unable to fly.
Nice. Yeah, so this arrow arcs through the air, and then does a net kind of come out of the arrow once it's in flight as it gets near to this creature, or does it hit and then a net kind of explodes out of it? How does this look?
I think it probably hits and then a net explodes because that sounds like it would be cheaper to do with practical effects.
Okay. Yeah, so the arrow hits sort of the back of this creature as it tries to fly away over the tundra, and a net explodes out of it. And whether or not it manages to completely wrap the creature, it's enough to kind of entangle its wings, and it starts to plummet, and it just falls down into the dirt, and you see a sort of puff of dust as it lands. We probably see the shot from far off because actually trying to animate it hitting the ground is going to be an expensive shot. So we're seeing just the four of you standing on this cliff face, watching this thing hit the ground. However, in the distance, you do hear a screech, and you see more of these silhouettes coming towards you. 3 or 4 more of these silhouettes are moving towards you. What do you do in that moment?
I'll sort of point and say, we can take cover down there. They'll hide our exit. And it's like a prairie with a bunch of mammoth.
Excellent. Yeah, maybe these mammoth have been
Yeah.
interrupted by the sound of this large winged beast hitting the tundra. But they're not stampeding at this stage. They're just wary.
Yeah. We'll have to make a run for it because I sold the horse. I mean, the horses escaped. Let's go. And there's a very notable bag of money that is on her belt.
Mm-hmm. How are each of you getting down this cliff face? Is there a path down, do you think? Or is this a tying a rope to something and taking a jump off of the cliff? What does this look like? Being on a cliff when winged creatures are attacking you might be quite dangerous. So
Maybe there's like a windy path, but there's like some dramatic music, and we can hear some screeching in the distance, and there's like the camera does a zoom in on each of us as we're looking back and scrambling, and it's sort of an implied chase scene.
Definitely some dramatic lightning, or at least like flashing,
Right, yeah, the weather is getting involved at this stage. And is it supernatural weather or just the natural events of the moment? It's difficult to tell. However, in the folds of Norin's robes, the orb continues to pulse and glow softly.
If it's okay, I changed my one of my thespian moves to open book. I haven't used the other one yet, so, and I think it actually makes more sense.
Totally fine.
And I'd like to use that move now. Emote. Pick an emotion to convey via speech or physical movement. When you display that emotion in a melodramatic fashion, roll plus drama. So the move I get, open book gives me +1. And I think what I'll do is I shove the staff into the campfire, and I'm like, we must flee. We have one we could take, but their numbers are legion. And like the flame kind of like dies, and you kind of use I guess we use like a smoke machine to show that it's extinguishing. And and we're going down the butte, I guess.
Okay, roll plus drama.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And I think the emotion's going to be fear. Let's see. 6. So that's a 10.
Nice.
And I think that gives me a tick.
Yes, because drama is one of your highlighted stats, you will get a tick in the audience interest.
Cool.
You also get to take +1 forward when acting on your emotions. So I think fleeing from these terrifying creatures is definitely acting on that emotion. And you can also choose a PC or NPC to witness your emotional display, and they feel the same emotion as you. If a PC acts on that emotion, they're going to take +1 forward.
I don't see Savage Stone being afraid. I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah, this is a pretty brave bunch here. So,
I mean, I did say he was, looking back as they were scurrying down that. So he's not terrified, but he is concerned. He's not an idiot. Kind of.
Okay, so yeah, we could translate as caution, maybe. So I'm happy to give that to the hero, to the lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we see shots of the four of you running down the running along this path, keeping an eye on these things as they approach. The mammoths are starting to get a little bit agitated as these large beasts of prey are closing in on them, and they're going to start to move off, but they won't. Again, I don't think we're in a stampede situation just yet. I
No,
think they
we'll just jog
are
along with them
just
for a bit, and occasionally look back. Makes us look
right.
cleverer
And
than we
these
are.
you see these creatures, they do a couple of passes over the mammoth herd, but they don't see you in this moment, but they do head up to where the orb was sitting at the campsite, and you see them kind of settle up on the cliffs and survey the landscape, probably requiring you to keep moving with this mammoth herd for a little while. I want to end the scene there and see you at a place of relative safety uh, at some point in the future. So maybe at this point the sun has come back up, and you have found some kind of shelter. Let's say a cave, or the classic is cave behind a waterfall somewhere, and having a moment to discuss maybe what you might do. Where were you headed when these things attacked, and why can't you go there now?
First
What
thing
would
that
we-
comes to mind, Noram was going to track down their mentor to tell us more about the orb or something.
Yeah, what were we gonna do with the orb?
That orb has brought us nothing but trouble. I said we should have sold it in the last city state that we were in, and everyone said that was a bad idea. Well, look at it now. We have to destroy it.
Agreed. The orb is far too powerful to let fall into Pendasalar's hands. My master will know exactly how to destroy this magical artifact. And she can be found. Where can she be found? She can be found in the ruins beyond the Green Forest.
But that's on the other side of the Snakewine River. It's flooding. And I
Well,
can't swim.
I know of
well,
a
lucky for
bridge.
you, you're. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know of a bridge across the river, but the forest I'm not familiar with.
If only my ship hadn't have burned down. I guess we'll have to take the bridge then. Damn you, Pendastalar. There's like maybe a brief flashback to the ship, burning in the distance, but it's like a model.
Okay, we hear a screech from somewhere outside of this cave as these things appear to have approached you. But then we cut to you walking through the forest as you are approaching this bridge. Because of the cover of the forest, the flying beasts are maybe not the best tool for Pendastalar to send against you. However, it does seem that he's able to track you in some way, shape, or form. And we keep seeing shots of this orb doing things. When you stop to camp at night, it can be somewhat contained, but when you're on the move, it's a little bit difficult to do that. And so we do, as you maybe step through the forest, we have one of those shots that shows sort of the middle third of Norin as he's walking through the forest, and you see this something in his pocket is glowing ominously as he walks.
Yeah, maybe when it flashes, there's like in the background there's a tree with like a shadow, and eyes come visible in the shadow, and then it flares again, and there's one behind another tree.
Nice. So yeah, the audience sees this shadowy figure appearing in trees as you walk through this area. And then there is one shot of the of eyes. And these eyes don't look the same. They're not the same sort of shadowy, glowing red. They're not coming out of a tree. This is a person that appears to be tracking you, that has seen what is going on. And as you walk through the forest, this person will step out, and it's a woman with dark hair. She's got a mask up over her face, and she draws a bow on Savage Stone and says, "Halt! Why are you moving through this forest?"
To what's his name? Pendastelar, isn't it? To get away from Pendastelar. His flying minions are chasing us. And then pose for the camera.
A likely story. Pendastelar has minions everywhere, including some rather muscular men. How do I know I can trust you?
We can drink wine, and you can look me in the eye. That's a. Should I go for one-liner? See how that goes.
Do it.
What the hell?
Do it. That's great.
Do it.
It's swagger. No, okay, so 1. Okay. 8.
That's an 8. So you can choose one of the options. You can either take +1 forward, or your buddies are impressed. You can increase camaraderie. But you also have to take something bad to go with it. So
Yeah, we'll go with the camaraderie thing. Maybe they smirk or something when I do it, because I've said that sort of shit before.
mm-hmm.
So yep, we'll go with the camaraderie, and the bad
That's
side.
the positive.
Yeah, it slows down the action because maybe we stop in her hut and have a drink or something. Or...
Yeah.
Okay. So we do. She takes you back to a camp of her people. You're still being warily watched. She introduces herself as, what's a good name? Darla.
Darla, in my experience, big muscular men are overrated. And speaking of stories, what's yours? And she's like straight up flirting with her at this point. So we kind of see that in the scene.
Mm-hmm. Pendastelar has taken everything from these people. And when they have nowhere left to turn, they come to the forest. And we look after each other. And we need to constantly be on the lookout for Pendastelar's minions. He can control people's minds somehow, although he hasn't in a few months. We've had people come into our camp, and at first everything seems just fine. But then, inevitably, something happens, and they snap, and we have to get rid of them. What is... let's go back to Betchu, the Sly. At this, it's a meager party. This is not a big feast. They have wine, but it's not the best wine. It's certainly it's a bottom shelf wine that everybody is drinking. But this is a place of camaraderie and people that trust and rely on each other, whilst at the same time being a little bit wary that the person they're drinking with at any moment might turn. So people aren't quite letting go in this moment. What does Betchu do?
I think Betchu, who, has been sort of following around Savage Stone for, I think they've probably known each other for years and years and years at this point, will pick up a glass of wine and stand and say, if you don't like Pentelar, no one is better at also not liking him than my good friend Savage Stone. Many are the battles that he has fought for against Pentelar and for all of the people of our place where we live. I don't know what we're calling it.
The realm.
The realm. And I have nothing but faith in him and that eventually we will prevail. And they're going to try to emote. And I think the emotion that they're trying to rouse in this crowd is confidence in Savage Stone.
Okay.
We'll see how that goes. 7 plus 1 is 8. And I think I'd like to choose Darla to feel confidence in Savage Stone as a hero. At any moment, we're gonna be able to get this guy. It's gonna happen.
Okay. So we see you're in conversation, and we see that while Dala is talking to Kiela, she's overhearing this proclamation, and is maybe in that moment reconsidering Savage Stone a little more. She sort of turns to eye them with more interest than perhaps she was in the past. Norin, what are you doing? You have this orb. You were investigating it when you were attacked. In this moment of relative peace and safety, what is Norin thinking? You're going to potentially go back to see your mentor?
Oh, I think maybe like he's trying to contact his mentor, but something bad's not like it's not going through somehow. Maybe he's like he's poured wine in a this like this large bowl. He's like pouring wine. And like someone makes a comment like, "Oh, you're gonna drink all that?" But he's really just using it as a scrying pool. But you see like the waters ripple and maybe like some light effects, but he's like, I can't reach my mentor. I fear something bad has happened. And he's talking to the squirrel, of course, as he's saying this, who
I
looks,
was hoping that
also,
was the case.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe in that moment, Cheeks the squirrel kind of reaches down and either touches the surface of the pool of wine or takes a sip.
yeah. No, Cheeks, you can't get drunk again. And I put him away.
And it crosses its arms and looks sad. Stamps a foot.
I'll leave him alone. He knows how to have a good time. Isn't that right, Cheeks? I'm sure I've gotten your squirrel drunk before.
What is wrong with you, Kirla? The realm is falling. Darkness is spreading.
Well, that's why we have to enjoy life even more. And she leans closer over to Darla and it's like, and if you like wine, there's, the Illyrian wine is the best or whatever. So we don't have to play it out, but I'd like to roll for a love scene in the background where she's just flirting with Darla.
Awesome. I think in that moment she'll notice Keller again and just say, "Have you got any?" And then roll the move.
A 10. Well, it just so happens, I brought some along, and they kind of head off somewhere else off screen.
Yes, she leads you off to somewhere. Yeah. And with a 10, you get to pick 2 things from that move.
She will show up during a moment of danger to provide critical aid, and she will die during the course of the movie.
Oh,
rip.
heartbreaking. Heartbreaking, but I believe that unlocks the vengeance move when she dies.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to have your revenge in that moment.
Mhm.
So I think we probably want to end it there for today, because I want to leave a little bit of room to kind of talk about next steps and where we go, and we can play the back half of Orb of Sorcery 4 against Destiny during our next session.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for playing. I want to give an opportunity for people to do stars and wishes, to kind of highlight what they enjoyed about this session, things that they want to see for the next session, anything that any feedback that you can give me about being a director. This is not just my first time running Action Movie World, but it's actually it's not quite my first time running a PBTA game, but this is a relatively new experience for me. So if you can give me some guidance and feedback, that would be great. And if you want to do so privately, that's totally fine as well. But yeah, does anybody have anything that they want to start?
Because it uses, movie tropes and character tropes and that, it's easy to envision sort of what's going on. So it's like the heavy lifting's done for you. All you have to do is watch a bunch of movies, which most of us have already seen. So it's like, yep, this isn't a hard sell or hard to grasp what's going on. So it's we're skiing downhill, So that's all good. Yeah, everyone's sort of got a different sort of character, which is good. It makes them easier to envision again. So yeah, it's going well.
I enjoyed I enjoyed Blake, just having Savage Stone always posing and mugging shot and clacking the axes. Very 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 cool. Like you said, yeah, this is a genre we all know, and it's just perfect that a lead character is doing that. Alex, I love that you tagged Darla for death. And the whole setting of the vengeance booth. So that's very cool. I can see that as a nice story arc for the fun-loving Kirilla. And T, I love having that toast at the end for Savage Stone for the people of the forest. So yeah. And Mike, thank you for organizing this. This is a lot of fun. Thanks.
Nice.
Yeah, this has been great so far. I'm really enjoying it. I like everyone leaning into the low budget aspect of it all, but we all come from these movies with the love too, obviously. I love Norin's squirrel a lot. That was such a good choice. Particularly the last scene with the paw and the wine. I really like that too. I like that you trying to emote and obviously, not doing the line reading so great. I could see the actress actually doing that, but actually it turned out pretty well. And yeah, I agree with the, I definitely want to see Blake seizing, Shattered Stone seizing the heroic moment. And, I want to see Pendastalar next time for sure. On screen. We got to take down this wizard. So.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun. I really enjoyed this. I'm enjoying just a lot of contrasting characters. Mike, I think you did a really good job shifting focus around and keeping the pace going. I am actually very surprised this is the first time you've run a PBTA game. I feel like everything went very fluidly. I was as someone who has run a lot of PBTA, very impressed. Yeah. And I mean, people have really brought up a lot of the key moments. I do feel like Blake has sort of the hardest role in this first movie because I feel like the lead has to be a little bit of a straight man, right? Everyone else is not necessarily wacky hijinks. But I think you're really pulling it off and centering it. And I can't wait to see you stab an evil wizard. Well, you don't have to stab it, but
I'm just thinking how we can involve cheeks in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to put out some stars as well. Yeah, for Blake, the posing and the tone of Savage Stone in terms of being like we must kill this thing, or like there's a thing in Barbarian movies which is like the lead tends to be very direct, like to the point of what they're trying to do, trying to embody that barbarian feeling, and I think you're managing to do that quite well. For Alex playing the smartass character and all the little touches with having a big tent and already having a party at the start of the story, and then bringing in something like even better to the party that was already being thrown, the fairly meager party that was being thrown, and moving into the romance thing with Dala and the picking those moves. I think especially for Dala that's a fun choice. For Norrin, the drama kind of like bringing those, like delivering a speech, I think is working really well in the moment. I think there was even a couple of times when he did it where we didn't do an emote move, but I think he probably could. And I want to remind you that you have the ability to do the soliloquy move as well, which is one of the ones you picked. So you can force the story to contain something true based on what your character says. So just be aware of that. And for Betchu, I love the wacky invention of the net arrow and the first stunt of the game, the kind of rolling from being hit and pulling an arrow and throwing it off. And I think you're doing a great job of being that sort of sidekick character that is quietly quite competent, but is never really the hero of the story, but might be the audience favorite coming out of this. So that was great. And I wanted to start everyone for the discussion around what are we going to do next? Well, we're going to take the orb to Norrin's master, and then a big discussion around like what that is. And that really helped me as a director to envision, okay, there's a bunch of things like you guys just laid out like 4 scenes, and I'm like, cool, that's great. The rest of my job is kind of done at this point. So thank you so much for that. There is a process that we'll run through at the end of the movie to kind of pick who the MVP of the film was and sort of how star power increases. But because we're not at the end of the movie, I'm not gonna do that today. But just be aware that that's a thing that we will do next time. And I think for the next session, we'll aim to finish out this movie and probably set up the next movie. And depending on timing, we will either start the next movie or we will end the session with setting up the next movie for next time. But yeah, I've had an absolute blast doing this. So thank you all very much. And yeah, I will see you in another week for more Action Movie World.
It's good fun.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you for running, and thanks everybody for playing.
Yep. See you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Hang on.
Okay.
Before we,
Okay.
I'm going to end the recording and